Mathematics, Advanced Subsidiary Level, Paper 2, 2023, Part 1. Before we start with the question paper, it's always important that you read carefully through the instructions and even underline a few things which you must remember in the question paper. Okay, so candidates answer on the question paper in the spaces provided. Okay, so the first thing that you're going to do is write your center number, candidate number, and name in the space at the top of this page. So there. And all the answers must be written, all the working must be done on this question paper. Okay, let's go on. Let's make it a bit bigger, that we see better. Okay. Write in dark blue or black pen. Very important. Not green, any other color. Okay. Then blue, dark blue or black. Because if it's light blue, it's also difficult to see. You may use a soft pencil for any diagrams or graphs. So you can also use a pencil. But please, no calculation or working in pencil. Sometimes if you just do a side work or a small working, then you can use the pencil. But the formal working, where you show all your steps, it must be in pen. And please don't first write it in pencil and think you will later rewrite it in pen. There will not be enough time. Okay, let's go on. Do not use correction fluid, so no Tipp-Ex. If you want to scratch something, then don't scratch, just draw a line through it. Okay. Do not write in the margin for the examiner's use. So don't write there. That's not your space. That is going to be for the examiner. Okay. Answer all questions. So it's not optional questions. All questions must be answered. Formula and notations list is provided on page 17 for your use. So if you are unsure about the formula, you can go to the back and look at the formula list and then make sure that you are writing the formula correct. But especially, I rather want to advise you to memorize the formulas and than to search for it in the formula sheet. Okay, you can just check in the formula sheet. If working is needed for any question, it must be shown below or where working is indicated. So in that space that they give you, the lines, do your working there. If additional space is needed, you should use the lined page at the end of this booklet. The question number or numbers must be clearly shown. Okay, so as soon as you going to do it on the extra page, then go and write, okay, I'm going to do 5A. And then you can say additional page or on page. So indicate it to the examiner. And I think they're going to say it now. Then if you don't want, say for example, you don't want them to use the, say this was question 5. And you did A. And you know that this is, and you're going to read through, do it on the extra, then if you don't scratch it, then they are going to mark the first option. So if you don't want them to use the one in the space, then draw a line through and tell them on page, extra page or the additional page. Okay. The number of marks is given in brackets at the end of question or part question. And it's also always helpful. It shows you how much working it's going to be needed to do in a question. Non-programmable calculators may be used. So make sure. If you are not sure if it's the correct calculator, run it through your teacher before you, not on the day, before, a day before or a few days before you're going to write exam. Okay. If the degree of accuracy is not specified in the question and if the answer is not exact, so and if the answer is not exact. What does that mean? It means it stopped, like 2,34, and there stands nothing else on the calculator. Give the answer to 3 significant figures. Okay, so then 3 significant figures. Give answers for angle size to 1 decimal place, but angles in radians to 3 significant figures. It's the same as in paper 1. Figures, unless a different level of accuracy is specified in the question. Unless they say in the question, correct to 2 decimal places. And then it's always good to underline it so that you don't forget it. And then, very important, for pi, use your calculator value. So don't use 3,142. No, only the button on your calculator, the irrational number. Okay. Before we start with question number 1, let's first just go through the general comments of the examination report of paper 2. Okay, let's start. The paper was of similar standard to that of last year. The marks range between 0 and 75. Most candidates finished the paper. That's good news. It was clearly noticed that a significant number of the candidates who entered this syllabus without a solid algebra foundation struggled to cope with the majority of topics. So that's why that ordinary level part, that algebra part, is very, very important. Many candidates struggle with basic ordinary level competencies like factorization of trinomials and basic logarithmic laws. So remember, your ordinary level is always your base for AS level. It should be noted that the emphasis in AS is more on the method and the mathematical process than on the final solution. Complete methods should be shown at all times. So show your steps. Okay, doesn't help you just write the answer. Then you're not going to score full marks. So candidates sometimes not even 1 mark. So candidates must make sure to delete work that they do not want to be marked at specific questions. It was often seen that candidates approach a problem in 2 or 3 different ways without deleting any of the work. It was often seen that questions were replaced on the additional page without deleting the work at the original question. So remember what I said to you in the beginning, draw a line. Okay, then without deleting the work at the original question. In these cases, the work at the original question was marked. They marked the first option. So the one that they see is first presented, that is the one that they are going to mark. So they're going to first see the correct position before they will go to the additional page. So then if you don't want them to mark that one, you have to draw a line. Okay. So if candidates want to use the additional page, they should clearly refer to the additional page at the appropriate question. So you must, as I think I showed it to you in the instructions. Okay. So candidates should be discouraged to work in pencil first and then to rewrite their work in pen. They often do not copy the pencil properly, and some accuracy is lost after the pencil is erased. In addition, it's more work and can result into candidates not finishing the paper. So write in a pen, especially your formal writing. If you really, it's a graph or something like that, or you just maybe factorize something, then you can use a pencil. But then also don't clean the pencil. Leave the pencil on the question paper. Centers must not provide any additional paper. This is very, very important. Candidates do their work on this paper, on this booklet, and then, they do it on the additional paper, and then just copy the answers, which result in the loss of all marks for the specific question. So don't give your candidates, teachers, extra rough paper. No. If they want to do something rough, then take a pencil, but still write it on the booklet. Okay. For the specific question, it is advised that answers should be left exact where possible. Exact means, I'll show you now in this one. An answer of ln 3, or I think we had one, square root 14. It's more exact than pressing it on the calculator and rounding it. It's preferred above the decimal version of 1.098612. So leave it like that. Candidates should be encouraged only to round their final answer. This prevents the loss of accuracy caused by premature rounding. So you must write the full calculator display and only the final one you can approximate. It was noted that some candidates use calculators that can solve cubic equations. The new calculators can do a lot, but candidates who use these must be taught to show all the steps of their working. No marks are awarded if only answers are given. So you cannot just do it and program it in and just write the answers. You're going to get 0. Okay. So most candidates took care to show their working. So always show your working, which allows them to gain marks for correct methods, even when their answers are wrong. So sometimes your method, but your maybe substitute incorrectly, but you can still get a mark for the correct method. However, candidates should be encouraged to show complete methods, especially when they are asked to prove a quoted answer. Candidates may not work backwards from the quoted answer. So if they say, show that, it means don't start with that, end with that part. Okay. Candidates should realize that questions are structured in an attempt to help them. They really want you to score marks. The earlier parts of the question, like A or B, are often used in subsequent parts. The words henge is another indication that the previous answer must be used in order to solve the specific question. Candidates must be taught how to interpret questions of this nature. If the question states henge and the previous question is not used, this is for me very important, henge and the previous question is not used, no marks may be awarded to the solution. So if they say henge in B, they want you to use A. It should be noted that none of the question in this question paper read. It can be that they say henge or otherwise. Okay, if they do that, so if the or otherwise is seen, it is an indication that the previous answer should assist the candidate. So now it will only assist to solve this question easier, but there are other methods that can be used. Okay, so see the difference. It's a bit a language thing. Okay, and now the next one. More care should be taken in the classroom with the mathematical notation and the teaching of the relevant terminology. Teachers and learners should not only concentrate on the final answer, but also on the accuracy of the mathematical writing. For example, it was often extremely difficult to decide whether a candidate means sin square x or sin 2x. So please make sure that if it's sin square x, then that 2 must be there on top, which is actually meaning sin x multiply sin x. And this is the angle that's double, sin 2x. So please make sure if it's a small, look at that. Okay. Teachers should please not create their own abbreviations, similar to those used in social media language that candidates are allowed to use in class. They should be taught that they may not use these abbreviations in any formal mathematical assessments. So if you are not sure if the abbreviation is correct, then go and Google it, go to a mathematical website and make sure. Okay, but please be careful for that. Teachers should take more care in the teaching of degrees and radians in class. It's not advisable to teach candidates to work only in degrees and then to convert the answer to radians. No, not on this level. Candidates, and actually no, not any level, it's just that radians first come in this level. So candidates must learn how to change their calculator setting from degrees into radians. So please don't borrow a calculator the day when you are writing mathematics, because then you don't know how the calculator is. Borrow it beforehand then and make sure that you can change it from degrees to radians. Candidates should be taught that they must immediately change their calculator to the correct setting once they read a question. So if you see there is 2 pi, if you see that it's in radians, change the setting so that you press in radians everything. And don't forget then to change it back to degrees if you see it's trigonometry and you're working again with that. Okay. Candidates should be taught with the formula sheet in class. So please, teachers, make a copy of it, use it in classroom, show the students where, because it's not going to differ from one year to another year. Okay, so that they are used that the formula, these formulas will be on the formula sheet, these ones will not be there, these ones you must memorize. And I like to say it, you memorize so many things in biology, in physics, in chemistry. But when it comes to maths, it's almost like a bit lazy to memorize. So please, it's good to memorize the formulas also. Okay. So candidates candidates, they should know which formula will appear on the formula sheet and which formulas they need to study by heart, to study. It was very often seen that formulas, derivatives and integrals appear in the formula sheet were quoted wrongly. Candidates should take care not to change the given variable. For example, let's just theta on the question paper cannot be changed to an x or an a. So or if it's on the formula sheet an x and an a, no. If it's in the question theta, you stay with theta. Okay, if it's in the question, say question 5, it's x, you keep with x. You don't go what the formula sheet is saying. You just adapt it. So if the formula sheet is used, the variables used on the formula sheet must be replaced for the relevant unknown of the specific question. So make sure that you do that correctly. Many candidates were very careless with the rounding instructions throughout this paper. It's always advisable to write the complete answer, the full calculator display, before the attempt to round it to 3 significant figures, or if it's angles, to 1 decimal place, or if the question stated otherwise. Question number 1. The polynomial px is given by px equals 6x to the power 3 minus 7x squared minus 23x plus 25. Now, where will you find this in the mathematics textbook, y equals mx plus c? You will find this in chapter 8. And that will be algebra. And this will be polynomials. And that is in the mathematics textbook, y equals mx plus c. And then you can go there to example 14, and that's on page 273. That example will help you. Okay, so find the quotient, when px is divided by x plus 2 and show that the remainder is negative 5. Okay, now you can use long division, but it's very good, especially on this level, to spare time, to also use the synthetic division, or I call it the short method. But let's first start with the long one. Okay, so I'm going to write it like this. Okay, so I'm going to say 6x to the power 3 minus 7x squared minus 23x plus 25. Okay, and I divide by x plus 2. It's actually a very nice, easy one. So if I divide, I get 6x squared. I take this, divide by this. Now, don't forget that you must multiply and you must multiply. So I'm going to get 6x3 plus 12x squared. Okay, and then I draw again and I change the signs. This becomes a negative and this also becomes a negative. So this 2 cancel out and negative 7, negative 12 is negative 19x squared, and I bring this one down. Okay, and now I divide again. Negative 19x squared divided by x will be negative 19x. Okay, again, multiply, multiply. So I get negative 19x squared minus, okay, and if I'm going to say negative 19 times 2, I get negative 38x. And again, I do the same. I change the signs. So this is a positive and a positive. But as I said, this is ordinary level. If you go to AS level, it's very good if you also memorize the synthetic division method. Okay, but now I want to start with this one, finish this one actually. So 15x plus that 25. So this will be 15x divide x, so it's 15. Then I multiply and I get 15x, and I multiply and I get 30. And again, I change the signs negative, negative. And then I'm getting negative 5. Okay, so that's the method. If I use the other method, and I'm going to use it now here, the synthetic, but please don't do both. Please don't do both. Do one. Okay, if you struggle with this one, you can scratch that one and then just continue. But what do I do with the short method? I just write the coefficients. So it's going to be 6, negative 7, negative 23, and 25. And then I draw the line like this. And then I bring down. And if I bring down, it's going, and I don't forget, if it's x plus 2, if you say x plus 2, put equal, then x will be negative 2. You take it over. So there I write negative 2. Don't forget to bring down, so it's 6. Then I multiply and I get negative 12. And then I get negative, in this case, 19. And then I multiply and I get 38. And I simplify and I get 15. And then I multiply and I get negative 30. And it's always the remainder here, and I get negative 5. But please don't stop like this. Go and say, what is the quotient? The quotient, therefore the quotient, and don't forget to say your x squared x without the x. Don't leave it like this. So you're going to say 6x squared. So the first one, this is the remainder, and then no x, x squared. So 6x squared minus 19x plus 15. Yes, plus 15, and the remainder is negative 5. Okay, so that's how you do it. But please, as I said, use one that you are feeling good with and that you make sure that you don't make mistakes. Okay, I must say I love it if a question paper starts with an easier chapter, easier work, because you are so stressed and then you make so much unnecessary mistakes, so that you just start relaxing a little bit. So thank you, examiners, for helping the students. Okay, now henge, and this is what I said, henge. Okay, so we're going to use the answer of A, factorize completely. Now if you take px and you plus 5, what are you going to get? You're going to just take this one. Oh, I want to move it up. You're just going to take this one and you're going to add 5. So you are going to get, we can even write it, 6x, and we can make it equal, 3 minus 7x squared minus 23x plus 30. Okay, and now the short way is very good. If you see it now, I'm just going to show you quickly. So they say, hence factorize completely. So if you now use that short method, let's do it. So it's going to be 6, -7, -23, and 30. And don't forget, it's again -2. Okay, because I'm still factorize. So now, why am I using -2? Because if I add 5, do you see I become 0? Then the remainder will be 0. So then I will know. So that's why they said hence, that I will know that x plus 2 is a factor. Okay, so it was like, see that x plus 2 is going to be a factor if we just add 5 to the polynomial. Okay, so again, bring it down. So this is going to be 6, and then it's going to be -12, and then it's going to be -19, almost the same, and then it's going to be 38, and then it's going to be 15, and if you multiply, you're going to get -30, and what will that, then the remainder will be 0. Okay, so now, I'm just going to say x plus 2 is a factor, but it's not necessary. They didn't say that you must prove it. I'm just going to factorize it further. So I'm going to now remember what I said. For this one, x squared. For this one, x without an x. So I'm going to just take that quotient and I'm just going to factorize it. Okay, and now if you want, here you can use a pencil if you want to do it on the side, not to make it too many. So I say 5 times 3, I say it's in group A, so, and 3 times 2. Let's see if this is going to work. Group A, I must add to get this middle, not the negative, just the 19. So this is going to be, let's quickly see, this is going to be 10, can you see, 2 times 5, and 3 times 3 is 9, so it's going to be 19. The signs are the same, and both take the sign of the middle term. Okay, did you see that? So, and there's your x, and there's your x. So, basically, I'm going to get 3x minus 5 and 2x minus 3. Okay, now, listen, they didn't say solve already. They said factorize. What does factorize mean? It means they want to see the 3 brackets. Okay, it's x to the power 3. So therefore, I end with x plus 2, 3x minus 5, and 2x minus 3. Okay, I should have already taken you to the report, but I'll do this now at the end. It's an easy question. So now again, hence, meaning use now the answer of B. Write down the roots. Now, what does the roots mean? It means the values of x. It means where it cuts the x-axis. And where it cuts the x-axis, I know that the value of y is going to become 0. So this, do you see, that value is going to become 0. So I'm going to say that x plus 2, 3x minus 5, and 2x minus 3 is going to become 0. Okay, and now I can just solve it, and I get x is -2, or I can already solve this one. X is equal to 5 over 3. I take it, put it equal to 0. Okay, I didn't show you that step, but I think on this level you will not struggle with it. So x is equal to 3 over 2. So what I basically did, I didn't show you, I was doing x plus 2 equals 0, 3x minus 5 equals 0, or it was 2x minus 3 that was 0. One of them was 0 in order for this to become a 0. Okay, and this is your free answer. So write down the roots of the equations is find the values of x. Okay, now let's go to the examination report. Okay, so let's just go quickly here. I'm just going to go and hide. Oh, no, I can go to documents. And I'm going to go to the examination report. And let's see what they say about question number 1. Okay. So it was well answered. Some candidates only used the remainder theorem to show that the remainder is -5 and never calculated the quotient. So read your questions, underline, because especially on this level, they like to ask for two things: find the remainder or show the remainder and find the quotient. Okay, so underline what are they asking for. This resulted in the loss of marks. Teachers are advised to teach synthetic division as well, the short method. It's faster method than long division and the chances of making mistakes are less. So go to my textbooks and make sure that you conquer that. It's more in the ordinary level, AS, y equals plus C. Question B was moderate. Okay, so the answers was basically that was the quotient. And then, so for any of the methods, and then if you came to the quotient, and then if you came to the remainder. Okay. Then moderately answered, very few candidates realized that the question was structured to show them that x plus 2 is a factor if you add 5. Most candidates use long division again, ignoring the instruction of henge, which means the answer of part A must be used to answer the question. Many candidates solve the cubic equation instead of factorizing. If they stand factorize, stop with your 3 brackets, okay, or your 2 brackets. It don't mean find the value of x, okay. So in the last, okay, it should be noted, cannot be factorized like this. So don't leave it as fractions. It must be no fractions involved. It must be written like this. It was also seen that some candidates used calculators that could solve cubic equations. They only wrote down the 3 brackets without any working, which resulted in the loss of marks. So please, maybe sometimes you think, oh, I just go quickly press it in. No, memorize the method. Write down the method. You can check on the calculator. That will help. And then number C, moderately answered. Some candidates could not have been familiar with the word roots. They did not realize that they just needed to solve an equation equal to 0. Many candidates did not realize that all 3 brackets in part B had to be solved. It was often seen that candidates wrongly equated each bracket to 5. Other candidates misunderstood the question and tried to comment on the nature of the roots, nothing about. Okay, so there was just, if you came to this, if you came to your 3 brackets, and there was for your 3 answers. I'm just going to go back to the question paper, and I'm just going to show you where the marks was given. Okay, so where was the marks given? If any method, if it's either this one or this one, and then if you set for the quotient, and if you prove the remainder, okay, or you came to the remainder. And then the next one, henge factorize completely. Okay, so basically, I'm just going to do this, and then I add first, okay? But they just gave you if you came to this answer already. Ooh, let's just get the pen. And then if you get factorize this, and then your 3 brackets. Okay, and then the final one was just your, if all 3 answers were correct, then you got your 1 mark. All these videos refer to the y equals mx plus c textbooks, the number 1 mathematics textbook used in Namibian schools. For more information on these textbooks, visit the Straight Line Publishing website. All y equals mx plus c to success textbooks are available in the NEED catalogue of the Ministry of Education. Schools can order these using their yearly budget for textbooks, with the process typically starting mid-year. Make sure your learners have a copy of the y equals mx plus c mathematics textbook used by the top schools in Namibia in front of them in 2025. A final point. If you are in the position, I want to encourage you to buy your own personal copy of the y equals mx plus c mathematics textbook. These textbooks are available at the following bookshops. Remember, success in mathematics comes from hard work, perseverance, and the courage to face challenges head on. Good luck with your final 2024 examination.